Well, good Sunday morning. Hope everybody can get in here and join in with the discussion this morning. I'll see what we can learn or do or whatever this morning. I've had a very busy week. Had a very, very busy week, and I'm seeing on the computer here that I've got how many services to do. It alerts me on Sunday mornings how many I've got to do. Looks like I've got about 6 services to do this week, 5 or 6, if we can catch up with them. So here's one of my Savannah trucks that needs servicing, and a Charlotte truck. Yep, I've got a bunch of work to do this week, it looks like. But I hope everybody's having a good Sunday morning. I'm gonna take me a little bit of refreshment. Do my little Diet Mountain Dew there. Good cold one. Hadn't seen anybody jump. I've gotten people jumping in. Where's my chatters at? That's my chat room working right? I'm not seeing my chat. Let me see. Whoops. What have I done? Hold on. I kicked something out. There we go. Oh, okay. There. Hey, Ponka. Hey, Greg. Hey, Chris. Yeah. I got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of projects to do. I've got still. We had some cement work we were going to do a couple of weeks ago. And I put it off because we had so many rainstorms predicted, and so we put it off. So I think now we may be cutting down on a lot of those afternoon showers, and we may try to do some of that cement, because there's nothing worse than getting out there and trying to. Caught you off guard, did I? Hey, Doug, how are you? Haven't seen you in here in a good while, Doug. Yeah, I've got a lot of work to do around the place. Like I said, I've got. Hey, Greg, I didn't say hey to Greg in there. I said Greg and Doug and Chris. Well, you got yours formed up. Didn't close permanently, did it, Chris? I hope it was just a vacation thing or something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of projects out there I've got to get done right now. That's for certain. I hope everything coming in good, volume wise. Looks like picture wise, I'm doing good. Oh, a citywide celebration. Oh, okay. Is it I hope it's hey, comfortable man. Yeah, how are you? Okay, good. I've got me some new lavalier mics. I'm gonna try those. I tried that on a little demo thing I had, and it seemed to come out pretty good. I forgot to bring one today though, so I may try that in the near future. Well, that's good. Yeah, it works good out here at the dealership out here at the Napa store. I got good Wi-Fi. Well, I got this one wired in direct. I got good internet out here, and it seems to do really good. So I'm trying to do a few things out here now. We got some cement barriers that I bought that I'm gonna put out front. I've got a big turnaround out in front of my driveway, and people have kind of abused it over the years. And I'm going to try to alleviate some of that by putting those big barriers out there. So when they turn in, they can come in and come straight up to my store, but they won't be able to whirl around and go make it a complete turnaround type thing. I'm gonna try to slow the obstacle down, or put a few obstacles up so as to not let it be easy to get in and out, and make it a quick turnaround. Hopefully that'll help. Yeah, yeah, I've yelled at several truckers, and and I'm a trucker myself, so I know, firsthand. I know what it'll damage parking lots. I've probably been guilty myself, so I know what it'll do to a parking lot, and I can't afford to have that happen out here. And especially in the heat of the summer, you go spinning one around, and those rear tandems lock down, and then you spin it, and it's like a big auger out there on your parking lot. I mean, anybody's ever watched that, and you watch it's like a auger starting to turn that asphalt around, because those tandems, and especially if it's a weighted trailer, and it's got weight on it, on that back tandem, and you spin that thing around, that it's like turning an auger around in asphalt, and it will make a mess. It will make a mess of your parking lot, tear it up big time. Well, it's what I've got. What I bought, Ponca, was some. It's actually big barriers that this company had. I don't know how they, what they were using them for, but I was able to buy them when I went to that auction about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they're probably 10 foot wide and about 4 foot high, or 3 foot, probably 3 foot high. And I'm gonna put some advertisement on top of them, so I'm gonna try to make them useful for me also, but also beneficial, so people can't make it a quick turnaround. They'll have to go way up toward my building and turn around, and be be more inconvenient for them if they're just spinning through the parking lot. And it should hopefully keep big trucks out too. Hopefully, we'll see. Well, hey, Susan, I haven't seen you in here. I don't. I'm glad you're in here. Hopefully you'll like what we chat about. I'm in the trucking business, and the Napa Auto Parts business, and that's generally what I'm talking about. It's the trucking and that kind of stuff, and just general work, and what all's going on in my life, and other people that are on the chat room will talk about things. So I hope you enjoy yourself. Yeah, I hope you will tune in each week. We're doing this every Sunday morning on 9 o'clock Eastern time. So hopefully everybody get up. My wife told me my hat and my shirt didn't match too good today. I hope y'all weren't offended. Everybody's in the world of being offended nowadays, so I hope y'all are not offended by my not matching colors. Yeah, it's your eyeballs are bleeding. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I got sort of a teal and then a blue hat here, but you don't want to see my my old messed up hair either. So that's the reason for the. And I got to advertise there's my Napa store there, so I got to advertise that. Yeah. Well, hey, Captain Jack. Ground business is doing pretty good. We're staying busy. I'm on pretty steady runs. I mean, because I'm on bid runs, so the ground business is doing good. It hasn't fallen off. Actually, it's probably going to be getting into peak, and we're going to be kicking butt before long. We usually do. We usually get about the middle of August, it starts kicking up, and it's Katie bar the door in there from there on to Christmas. So yeah, it's going to be busy. I need to hire some more drivers. If anybody knows of any drivers in the Savannah area or the Charlotte area, I'm gonna be needing some more. Yeah, we're no, I'm not worried about Amazon at all. Amazon is got a lot of money there. Let me explain. See, I had a contract with Amazon, and I guess my contract's still valid. I still get notes from them, but I quit driving for Amazon about a year and a half ago because Amazon is completely nutty out there. If anybody that, I mean, Amazon is trying to be a trucking company, but they are doing it so crazy. It's pathetic. And, you know, excuse me here. I've got, yeah, my early morning stuff I got to do. I was one of the initial contractors that started in this area here in the Carolinas and everything. And looked like it was going to do okay. Looks like it was going to grow and do its thing. But now they have gotten in there and they're throwing everything to the wall. They're going at it crazy. Like one thing they need to do, they need to be investigated as far as antitrust. They're running businesses out of business, and people that can't see that are crazy. I mean, you know, people used to be scared of Walmart. Well, you better be scared of Amazon right now because Amazon is getting so large, so quick that something needs to be checked on that because they want to be your one shop of everything. It's what they're wanting to be. They want everybody to use their services. And I'm guilty of using it too. Don't get me wrong. I use their services too. Sometimes I find good deals on things, but you got to watch some of it is not good deals. But they are running the small businessman out of business. I mean, I have to compete with it here in the Napa store. I mean, we'll have people coming in wanting parts. Well, yeah, we carry the parts. We may not have every single part that somebody wants, but then, you know, they'll say, well, I'll look it up online. I'll order it online. Well, yeah, that's fine too. But, you know, what we have to work twice as hard with is to give the service because there's service along with parts sometimes that people don't realize. I mean, if you order a part online, for instance, and it's defective or it's the wrong part, then you're going to have to go through the hassle to get that thing replaced. And then you're going to have to pay freight. Maybe you don't realize it. You get freight to you free, maybe if you got Prime, but sometimes they're not going to give you freight back. And then you're going to be paying freight back and forth again the next time. They will get you back. And then that part will not be as profitable or as much savings, I might say. It's worse than Walmart. Walmart has not tried to overtake the trucking industry like Amazon's trying to do. Amazon has gotten greedy with every single thing. They're out there trying to say, well, we're moving packages for X amount of dollars through UPS and FedEx, but we think we can do it $2 cheaper. So they're trying to do it, and that's why you're seeing Amazon drivers come up in a car, and how the regulation. You know, we're regulated. I mean, our trucks are regulated, whether it's our package van, whether it's our line haul trucks, everything. We are highly regulated as far as what we have to adhere to. Amazon's not doing that. How many of y'all have had something? Yeah, they want to be John D. What's his name? I can't even think the guy. Jeff. Is Jeff? I can't even think what his name is now. The guy that owns Amazon, Bezos. Yeah. Bezos is trying his best to be the richest. Well, he is the richest man in the United States. He'll be the richest in the world before long. Yeah. Well, you know what happens. It's a tough business out there to compete against Amazon because we have let them. They have crept up and gotten big without people keeping them in check. Most people, with their regulations and everything else, have been kept in check. Amazon has been given a free rein on a lot of things. They skated the taxes and everything else as they were growing, and they were losing money for so many years. Well, now they're making money, and they're making money hand over foot right now. And they are building buildings right and left. We have in the Charlotte area right now, they have one huge warehouse being it's under construction. They've got another one in on the Concord side that's huge, is under construction. They've got one, two, three. They will have a total of 6 warehouses just in the greater Charlotte area within the next, I'd say within the next year. I mean, they already have a well, when I started with them, they had the one in Concord. That was the main one. And then they branched out, and within just months, they had 3. And now they're going to be up to 6. And that's happening in every metropolitan area that you can think of. Yeah, these people are, they're not, what they're skating around is these guys, out delivering in their cars. I mean, they're not insured commercially. I mean, they're using an individual's insurance, whereas the average carrier, we have to have a lot more insurance. So if somebody comes out there and I venture to say, if somebody has an accident one day and they're delivering Amazon packages in their car, there may be a big stink on this one day, because that's part of the regulation right there. They're not insured enough to do the job they're doing. And, they're overloading cars with packages. And I've seen some of these people online showing what they're doing. And I mean, they're ruining their cars. They're wearing out their cars, or they got an old wore out car. That's what a lot of them are doing, and driving it around. And it's full of packages. It's doing a commercial job, but you're running around as a individual's insurance. And if they were to have an accident, I think that somebody should come down hard on Amazon for that. But I mean, that's just my opinion. Yeah. And that's what they're not requiring. They're not requiring these people to get commercial insurance. They're just saying, oh yeah, just put it in your car, go on. And that's where they're skating that's where they're skating the regulations. These people should be required to show commercial insurance, and they should be going to their insurance agent and being required to have insurance that I have to have. My insurance is outrageous. I mean, I pay by the week. My insurance is so high with FedEx that I pay weekly, and I pay a ton of insurance weekly on all my trucks. I mean, I couldn't afford to do it by the year. I mean, I don't think I could save that much money. I mean, it would just be, it's hard enough doing it weekly. I mean, I'm trying to think how much my insurance is now. It's oh gosh, in the thousands. I mean, I'm thinking I pay somewhere in the neighborhood of probably $5,000 a week, if not more. I'd have to check with the wife. I don't do the books on that. It's very high with all my trucks, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of probably I want to say $5,000 or $6,000 per week that we pay in insurance. And so that, it's expensive, very expensive. And, but that's the way it goes. And I just like my fuel bill. I don't even want to think about how much I pay in fuel. And I pay that on a weekly basis too, because I couldn't afford to pay a monthly fuel bill. It would just kill me. I mean, well, you say that. I mean, I guess I can do it. I pay I've got a couple of the things I pay by the month, but it's phenomenal. It's unreal how much we pay in some of these amounts to be regulated by the government. And this is where, like I said, that FedEx is doing everything above board, whereas Amazon, they're not. And they're trying to hire contractors on the cheap, and then they're putting some of their own vans out there too. And I looked at that as as a contractor. I said, well, let's see what it is. Well, good gracious alive. They want these contractors to go in there and buy all these vans, these gray vans you'll see, and pay a fortune for the van. You're paying, $35,000 for the van to meet their specs. And then they want you to have 10 or 12. That's your minimum. So there you are. You're already in debt. Let's see, what, $500,000 just in vans. Then you have to get the insurance on that, and they make you do the commercial on that because that's got Amazon's name on it there. Then they want you to guarantee your driver so much per hour. And then they want you to run it multiple shifts and everything too, because some people are talking about getting deliveries at I don't know if you've heard it. Some people are getting knocks on the door at 10:30 at night, and it's an Amazon person delivering you a package. Well, most people don't want that. I mean, most people want, they'll accept maybe a 7 or 8 o'clock package. I think I've had some get to my house about 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. But I don't want somebody knocking on my door at 10:30 at night. I'm gonna be armed with a gun, going to the front door to see who the heck that is coming to my front door, because I live way off the road. So that's what you get into. Yeah, it's we're well, even we're talking about the U.S. mail. People use their own personal vehicle, but those people that have that, they have to get extra insurance for that vehicle. For the mail people, if I'm hearing it right, because I had a friend that used to be a mail carrier, and he had to get extra insurance for that too. Yeah, yeah, 8 o'clock. Yeah, I wish I could get in bed at 8 o'clock. I get sleepy. I'm usually sleeping in my chair at 8 o'clock, but uh, usually I'm having to deal with drivers up until midnight at least, for little various things, and then hopefully I get good sleep between midnight and 6 a.m. That's always my goal. Of course, I don't always. I get a lot of calls at 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. That's the beauty of being an independent contractor. Good gracious, 700. I don't know if I want that. Yeah, that'll shoot. Yeah, uh, I don't want it overinsured, but definitely I think things need to be things have got to be put on an even keel. In other words, you can't, if you're going to run a commercial business, you need commercial insurance. That's it, plain and simple. I don't need the commercial insurance to be so outrageous that it puts everybody out of business. But I don't need some dude that's got a broke down 73 Chevette running around trying to deliver packages in the back of it, uh, with no insurance on it whatsoever. If he comes in my house and tears up somebody, I don't want to just have to go after. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how much these independent contractors like that. If they were to come in your house and they were to tear up something at your house, will Amazon pay that? I don't know. I really don't know, because these guys are so independent. They could be here one day and gone the next. And I don't know if Amazon is actually paying claims, because I guarantee that they're having claims filed against them for that. And I wonder how they're skating that, saying, "Oh well, we had to fire that guy or something, and he's no longer with us, and you'll have to take it up with his insurance." Then his insurance says, "Well, he only had a personal policy; he didn't have anything to cover that." So that's the kind of situation I think you'll get. Yeah, and then maybe driving on a revoked driver's license. I mean, they don't even check these things, from what I understand. If you show up, they'll give you packages to deliver. I mean, that's about the way it is. Their criteria for that is so minimum that I don't see how they keep from getting people from stealing packages almost. I mean, it's Yeah, well, I've seen them that way. You see them come in and they'll have duct tape and a duct tape headlight on, or something that, I mean, there's people. I mean, I'm not against people trying to make money. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the free enterprise system, but there comes a point in time when a company that large that's trying to skate regulations, and they prey on the people that's downtrodden in some ways, saying, okay, well, you can make, take that $200 card and make yourself $200 a day or $100 a day. And I'm all for people making money and legit money, but then these people are 1099, so they're independent contractors, so they're 1099. They're not paying their taxes on that. I bet 90% of them probably won't pay the taxes right on it, and then they're in and out. They've got this 20, 30 guys this day, and the next day 20 or 30 different people do it, and that's the mantra. That's the way these things are developing. It seems like, and that's not fair to the business person that has to go out and get this required. I mean, I cannot drive on a FedEx lot unless I have all the proper credentials. I've got to have all the registrations, the tags that cost me $1,800 a year. My truck tags cost me $1,800 a year per truck. Now multiply that out by about 40 trucks, and you get a huge, huge number. And I have to pay that every year. And unfortunately, that's one of the things I do have to pay on a one-time yearly basis, and it'll choke a goat. I'll tell you that. To write a check for $40,000-$50,000 for tags will, choke a goat. I mean, it is not fun to do that. But getting back to the Amazon part, I mean, I really do think that they need to step in and tighten down on them a little bit, because we're letting them run amok right now. I mean, they are doing whatever they want to do. I mean, Amazon is, like I said, uh, you know, they're doing whatever they want to do. They don't seem to care for any regulation whatsoever. You bought four trucks that I don't know. What are you registering them for, Chris? I don't know, but if you're gonna do Amazon, you don't have to worry about it. You just it's crazy. But we've got to. I enjoy the fact that businesses are doing good. What percent? Uh, I would venture to say, well, see, it's hard to say on me because I've been in it for so long, Greg. I mean, I've I'm 32 years into this FedEx contract right now. Well, it started out RPS, but I've been in it 32 years. I'm the oldest contractor in the state of North and South Carolina, and probably venture to say that I'm probably older than some of them in Georgia and Virginia too, because I used to know a lot of the Virginia contractors. Uh, but in this region, I'm probably one of the oldest tenured, I guess you'd call it, contractors at all. I mean, because I've seen the guys come and go behind me and everything that I used to know. That were also contractors. I mean, I had a friend of mine that was actually tenured a little bit more than me, and unfortunately, he got cancer about a year and a half ago and had to sell out. So I kind of moved up one notch, and I don't know of another. Well, I mean, I know who all the contractors are. I know that I'm the longest tenured contractor in the state of North and South Carolina. So I mean, I know that for a fact. I mean, there's not another one out there that can say they've been with the company longer. And that's good. I guess that's my bragging point in some respect. Let me see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess I don't know what it is now out in Kansas. If you buy too many in the state of North Carolina, if you buy and sell too many trucks, now they'll make you get a dealer's license. Yeah, we as far as percentage of profit and everything, I'm probably I'm probably making pretty good as percentage. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, because some years uh, we'll actually show a loss. I mean, I guess I really don't go by percentages so much, Greg. I know some years my taxes are higher because I didn't maybe buy enough product. I mean, it's a fine balance on business that's like me. I've got to use depreciation to my advantage. Now, uh, a lot of people don't understand depreciation, but for instance, when I'm out buying trucks, I mean, I have to buy enough trucks, enough product, so I can depreciate it through the business. Because if I don't, and I can't take it, depreciation it's a tool that you can use in business to help alleviate some of your taxes. I mean, if I go out and buy a truck that costs me $50,000, I can depreciate that either one time. They've got like a one-time depreciation. If I want to take it all off in 1 year, I can do that on certain product. And then sometimes I'll do that because I don't have enough depreciation that I have spread across the board. But there's only so much depreciation they'll let me have on certain items anyway. But if I go out and buy 8 trucks and they cost me 50,000 a piece, so it's 5 8 4, that's 400,000. So I can depreciate that 400,000 over I think 5 years. So each year I'm depreciating $40,000 right there. Well, the depreciation is a figure. I mean, I've not paid for that $40,000, but I'm able to depreciate out $40,000 because they know that the wear and tear that piece of equipment is going to be worth zero in 5 or 6 years, basically on the books. So I'm able to take that off of my taxes, which is a great thing. And if it weren't for depreciation, there's a lot of businesses I think would go out of business because we've got to rely on that depreciation to be able to write off the wear and tear on that equipment. Because the day you buy a piece of equipment, it's wearing out. It's wearing out. I mean, I've heard so many of these guys. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a brand new piece of equipment, and I won't have all this maintenance. Your maintenance won't be as much on the brand new piece of equipment, but I guarantee within a year's time that maintenance is really going to start creeping up, and there's a sort of a curve, you might say, what it's going to do. Uh, you've got to balance the curve of how much maintenance you're going to put into something, as opposed to the payment, as opposed to the depreciation, and all those factors have to kind of balance. And you got to figure out how much can I afford to pay for this piece of equipment. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, I would buy a brand new piece of equipment every single year if I could justify it, and if I could write it off, and if I could, just get my money's worth out of it. I'd buy it every year. I wouldn't hesitate to completely wipe out my entire fleet. But you can't do that. You know, not only does depreciation, you get paid for the depreciation. The actual vehicle depreciates and goes down in value real quick, real quick. I mean, the first year of uh, anybody that's bought a car or anything that's a mobile like that, you can drive a car off the lot. You couldn't turn right around and drive it back on the lot without losing several $1,000s. I mean, if you were to buy a brand new pickup truck, drive it off the lot, and you've signed all the paperwork, And then the next day you decide, well, I just don't need that pickup truck. I'll drive it back and sell it back to the dealership. Well, you could do it. You could sell it back, but you wouldn't get it nowhere near what you paid for it. You would be several $1,000s in the hole, or as the old saying goes, upside down. You'd be upside down in that truck, and that's what you got to deal with on that. It's a fine balance. It's whereas in real estate, values appreciate or go up, and anything that you drive or anything mechanical, it usually depreciates. Now there are some factors with antiques. Now, I mean, you can get an antique car that goes up, but that's still a very volatile. That's a very volatile thing. I mean, I've got a antique car myself. I got a couple. I bought what I felt like was pretty good deals on some antique cars. I bought a '68 Mustang for my wife a few years back. I was able to buy a '68 convertible Mustang that's in real good shape, and we've got it garaged and everything, and need to pull it out. I think some of you probably have seen it online. I need to pull it out and clean it up and get it running good. We don't drive it as much. But it's an appreciated value. I mean, that one actually goes up in value. It's something that's, with the market as it is right now, it will go up in value, and should continue to do that as long as the demand for antique cars continues on. Now, there could be a time. Well, I'll give you for instance. That's like baseball cards. Baseball cards in the '80s were a real hot commodity. I mean, they got at a fever pitch, got worth so much money. Now they still have some value to them, but I know that the value that they had in the '80s has diminished from what it is right now in 2019. I mean, there was a time back then, and my daughter is a big baseball card collector. This is kind of how I know this. She was buying them, and that's what she wanted. So when she was a teenager, we were buying her the box sets of the baseball cards every year. That's what she wanted. Now she still has them packaged up. Never looked at them. We've got one whole closet at our house that's dedicated to her baseball cards. And although she's quit buying them over the years, but she still has she still has a lot of them from the '80s up into the '90s, I think, of all of her baseball favorites. And that's when they were the hottest too. I mean, they were hard to get, and then they were hot to, you'd buy a complete set. So we used to buy her complete sets every year. Oh, you had a 75 Cadillac. Yeah, that 75 Cadillac's worth, pretty good probably. Yeah, I've got a friend. I need to one day go up to my buddy's place up in Vale, North Carolina. That uh, he is a collector. I mean, a serious collector. Got some of the greatest cars you would have ever seen, and he doesn't drive them. I'm gonna give you for instance. He has a a a 2004 Corvette Stingray that he bought brand new, a red one. I want you to keep up with me on that. Right now, it has 3,500 miles on it. I believe. I was up there the other day, and I believe it has 3,500 miles. He has a 2011 Corvette Stingray that he bought brand new, just him. It has, I think I looked at it, and it has 800 miles on it. Don't stop there. He has a 2015 Corvette Stingray, also red. All three of these are the same, I want to say, miles on it, something like that. So collectively, all three Corvettes have less than 5,000 miles. All three of them, if you add them all three together. Now that's a serious collector. Although I tell him, I said, his name's Jerry. His name's Jerry Richardson, although not the one that used to own the Carolina Panthers. And I kid him. I said, Jerry, I said, son, that's like being married to Miss America and never consummating your marriage. I said, you just you have not gone out there and broken these things in. I mean, what's the fun of this? I mean, and he, of course, now that's just a small portion of his collection. He has plenty of other antique cars. He has that's not all of his Corvettes. I think he has 5 Corvettes altogether, maybe 6. He has a '59 Cadillac convertible. He has. I'm just giving you a small amount. This man has about. He's the Jay Leno of the poor guys, you might say. He has a ton of a collection you wouldn't believe. That's for sure. And it's unreal. But one of these days, I may, if he'll let me, I'll film one of these days some of his collection, because it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal what this man is amassed and won't even use. I mean, it still boggles my mind on these Corvettes. I told him one day, I said, Jerry, I said, why do you have these? He says, well, I like to come out here and look at them. I said, I can save you about $70,000 a year. There's a Chevrolet dealership right down the road. If you only want to look at them, they keep a Corvette in there most of the time. I said, why don't you just drive down there and look at their Corvette? Oh, well, I like to own it. Okay. Owning it, if I had it, I'd drive it. I'm that way. I do not understand owning a vehicle and not driving it. I mean, I bought my 31, as a lot of you may know, I bought my 31A model, and I'm working on it, trying to get it so it's more comfortable to drive. I mean, it had some issues when I first bought it. I mean, the gas smell was pretty bad, and I've changed out the fuel cell, and I'm trying to make it more comfortable for the wife to ride with me. And yeah, everybody has their own thing, and I may be guilty of having too many tools and not using them. But I'm the type guy that has the tools. I want it because someday I may need it, and I know there's probably 90% of y'all out there the same boat I am. You see the tool, and if you're able to obtain a particular tool at a good price or whatever, that's usually what or you have a one-time need for it. You go, I'm going to buy that tool because I know I need it now and I may need it later. So that's the way I do it sometimes. Yeah. Well, and that's what we get into, taxes and tags and everything else. And sometimes people will go ahead and buy the item and then just transfer tags around. I mean, you can pay the transfer fee and a few things like that. Fortunately, for some of the trailers and a few things like that, they haven't got those so far out of reach. I mean, I quit buying vehicles as much as I have trailers, because I can buy the trailers and move pieces of equipment and a few things better than I can buying say a complete. In other words, I bought a trailer the other day. I bought a dump trailer, a small one that I'm going to be able to use to haul mulch and sand and gravel and everything around on the farm and do some things that I want to do, as opposed to buying a dump truck or something like that. I like it, and it's more flexible for me. And if I don't need it for 3 months, I'm not going to have to worry about getting it and having something to crank up or have it tagged. So that's the idea I have behind some things. I mean, there's enough trailers and things like that I like to use better than an attached vehicle, you might say. I mean, like I say, it's always easy to, even like a motor home or whatever. I don't want the fact of owning a motor home as much as I've had an RV trailer before, but I've never owned a motor home. My father owned one, and my father-in-law owned one at one time. And it was always an issue of having to service everything on that motor home to get it ready to make sure that you can make the trip that you're going on. and you'd spend a lot of money, time, and effort on that because it had been maybe been sitting for 6 months. Yeah, so that's kind of the way I look at things. You have to pay $5,500 a year on your caddy. Oh wow, you got it for okay. Yeah, that yeah. The more you insurance you value it at, yeah, that would go up. Yeah, yeah. You got to, but the tag on the camper you're talking about, Chris, was a lot cheaper than would have been had it been a motor home, and you would have had to have more insurance on that motor home, a higher insurance than a camper insurance. So that's the way I look at it. You're underinsured, okay. Well, I mean, you want to feel comfortable with whatever insurance you've got on it. I don't over insure anything too much. I don't under insure. I mean, I've got my business. If something were happen to my business, I've got it insured, hopefully enough that it would pay for my building and my contents. That's the way I look at it. Okay. Well, I mean, and you have to be, whatever you feel like that's. If you feel like you couldn't replace it and you want to insure for that, that's the man's prerogative. Uh, I don't I don't look at it totally like that. I guess I'm comfortable with a little bit of risk involved. I mean, my antique cars, I've got them valued up to a fairly reasonable amount. I mean, I've got the Haggerty's insurance on my antique stuff. That's usually what most people will have is like a Haggerty's. Yeah, yeah. JC's pretty good. I don't know what JC's doing this morning. I tell you a quick one, Chris. JC does so many things, and I see him on stuff. I actually had a dream last night about buying an international, and I don't ever buy internationals, but JC does. And I dreamed that I bought an international and cabin chassis of something, and it had I think it was, what is that, I want to say a 4500, 4400. I can't even remember what my dream was about exactly, but and it was so vivid of a dream that I actually got up this morning and I thought, well, I need to call JC Smith. I'm thinking, why the hell do I need to call JC? It was so vivid of a dream of something that I bought, uh, that I thought when I actually got up this morning, I thought I need to call JC, and it never happened. It was just a vivid dream, and I guess it was the last thing that I dreamt this morning. But it was really weird that I was dreaming about an international truck and that I needed to call JC for advice. And so that's it was sort of strange, and I was uh, I'll forget about this before long because it was a dream. But it's sort of funny that I'm thinking about JC there, and that was actually in something that was on my mind this morning. So trust me, I'm not going out looking for internationals because I am not an international fan. So it was, I guess it was a bad dream for me because I would hate the thoughts of owning very many internationals. JC loves them. He does pretty good with them, but I'm not a. I have I have owned some internationals, still own a few, but I'm not a big fan of internationals. Yeah. Now, if you got one like that, comfortable, man. I mean, uh, keep it insured. That's the yeah. I can call JC up, Chris. Yeah, JC, he'll answer the phone. Me and him chat every once in a while. He's called me. I've called him. He's a good friend to have, and uh, that sort of stuff. Yeah. I used to own some. My very first tractor trailer truck with FedEx or RPS at the time uh, was an international. I had an international cab over, and as it sort of ties into what I was telling you a while ago. My friend Jerry, that has all the cars, he bought my first international truck. He bought it from me. He bought it to. He actually robbed the rear ends. He was a contractor at FedEx at the time, and he robbed the rear end out from under it and put it under one of the trucks he had to put it back on the road. And I sold to him for scrap. It had already gone downhill as far as I was concerned, and was just worth scrap at that point. So he bought it for scrap and the value of the tires and everything, and then put that truck on the road, or took the rear end out and put uh, put his truck back on the road. So it worked out pretty good for him and all that. Well, guys, I'm wore out again. My voice can only take so much. If you can catch me on Cruising in the Carolinas with Mike, I got to save this valuable voice here to do my Napa commercials and to do my radio show. I'm gonna go. I'm getting ready to go work on that too right now in a little bit. So check me at Cruising in the Carolinas with Mike on ktcbroadcasting.com at 10 o'clock Eastern time, which will be 9 o'clock Central on Tuesday mornings. And you can hear Cruising in the Carolinas with Mike. And I'm spinning the oldies, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That's the oldies for me. And I'll be spinning that and doing that. So y'all have a wonderful day too, guys. A good rest of the week. Y'all take care, and I'll see you later.